विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Verse 89 इच्छाद्वेषप्रयत्नाश्च धर्माधर्मौ सुखासुखे तत्संस्काराश्च तस्यैते गुणाश्चितिवद ईरिताः. So in these verses, beginning from verse 22nd to 103, Vidyaranya is analyzing a Tvam-pada. Vidyaranya is analyzing an individual, which occurs in Mahavakya as a Tvam. So first he gives a meaning according to our Siddhanta. What is the meaning of Tvam? What is the individual? So after analysis we get that it is a mixture of three or two, either. So Chaitanyam, that's Kutasya Chaitanyam. Second is a Chaitanya Pratibimba, called Chidabhasa. We call it Ahankara or a Jiva. And since it is a Pratibimba, reflection, etc., then medium also we will have to assume. And so third thing is a reflecting medium. Then Vidyaranya said, well, this is a fact regarding an individual, but it is not known to anybody. And anybody means to whom it is not known. So he divides the world into two parts. And so he says the lay people also don't know this, that individual is a mixture of these two or three, whatever. And even the philosophers also do not know. But why do you divide the world into two? Say the world doesn't know. Why do you divide? Because one out of ignorance doesn't know. Other one giving a deliberate thinking on analysis of the individual comes to the wrong conclusion. And so everyone is ignorant, it is one thing. But one doesn't know out of ignorance. One doesn't know even after gaining knowledge. But that knowledge is not a samyak jnanam, it is not a proper, it's not a right knowledge. So it's called confusion. We call it as a vipratipatti. Pratipatti means a jnana. And vipratipatti, viruddha pratipatti. Viruddha pratipatti, vipratipatti. So viruddha means it's just opposite to what it is really speaking. And therefore it is confusion. So anyway, so there are several confusions regarding the nature of an individual. And so various philosophies are born out of that wrong conclusion. And so he has been talking about these varieties of the confusion. And the question is, why should we waste our energy for this purpose? We should not talk about others' confusion. Well, but those confusions actually don't belong to them. Today, we feel that we are clear. Tomorrow, that confusion can arise in my mind. And therefore, it's better for prevention. Prevention is better than the cure. So once that confusion arises and then you find a cure, it's better you prevent them. And so that is how we discuss that varieties of the confusions are there. Okay, and and then we started. So these three types of confusion also. So first is regarding the identification, confusion regarding the identification of the Atma. We call it as a lakshanam of Atma. So Atma lakshana vipratipattaya. So vipratipatti means the confusions which are for this, for identity or identification of Atma. That is one type of confusion that we discussed. That is, Atma is Deha and Atma is Manaha, Atma is this, etc. etc. Charvakas are confused, Bauddhas are confused, even the Vedikas are confused, right? Anyway, then the second is a confusion regarding Parimana. So, Atma Parimana Vipratipattaya. Parimana, dimension. Regarding the dimension of Atma, there are confusions, whether it's Anu, Madhyama or Vibhu, etc. And the third type of confusion rather, is, well, Swarupa. So Atma Swarupa Vipratipattaya, regarding the nature of an Atma. Nature of Atma also, whether it is sentient, whether it is insentient, whether it is sentient, insentient, etc. etc. And right now we are discussing this third type of confusions called Atma Swarupa Vipratipattaya. Regarding the nature of Atma, there are confusions. And now, first in that also, first group of people called Prabhakaras, Mimamsakas, the Prabhakara Mimamsakas, and the second group is this Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas. Well, they say something which is confusion, of course. They say that Atma is Jada Swarupa. Atma is by nature inert only. And they give an example that Atma is all pervading. Atma is Vibhu Parimana only. Atma is not a Anu Parimana or Atma is not a Madhyama Parimana, but Atma is a Vibhu. Atma is all pervading. And it is like Akasha. And like Akasha means Akasha is Jadam. It's all pervading, but it is Jadam. He says, yes, Atma is also a pervading and Jadam, inert only. Then why don't you call Akasha as Atma? Why you are saying like Akasha? So like Akasha means it is different from Akasha, definitely. And therefore bison is like buffalo. But anyway, it is different. So if you say Akasha is all pervading and Jadam, and Atma is also all pervading and Jadam, then tell Akasha only is Atma. No, it is not. Why? Because basically Akasha is Jadam all the time. Whereas this Atma is Jada, Atma becomes conscious now and then. By nature it is Jadam, but it becomes conscious now and then. And therefore that is not the case with Akasha. And therefore don't say Atma is Akasha. And therefore, and also, Akasha has just one property, and that is all the time there. And Atma has 9 properties. And they are all special properties of Atma. And they are not all the time there. They arise. They are also now and then. Ichcha, Dvesha, etc. All we are going to see today in detail. So, they are there. These properties are there in Atma, but not all the time. Not Nitya Gunaha. Anitya Gunaha. That's the difference between Akasha and Atma. Akasha has a guna called Shabda, which is Nityam, which is all the time there. Whereas Atma has a guna starting from the consciousness and other 8. All gunas are basically special properties of Atma, and they are not all the time there. They are temporary. So, temporary consciousness is a first guna. And then, well, that we talked in verse 88. And then in verse 89 we gave another 8 gunas. Ichcha, Dvesha. What are the 8 gunas? Ichcha. First thing is an Ichcha. Ichcha means here, attachment. Why do you say Ichcha means an attachment? Because then he says Dvesha also. So we should translate Ichcha as a attachment. So Ichcha means attachment, Dvesha hatred, and third means willpower. Prayatna means willpower, or a will rather. And fourth, Dharma. Fifth, Adharma. Sixth, Sukham. Seventh, Asukham. 8, Tat Samskaraha. So all these 8. And the 9th one is that consciousness is a property of Atma. That's also temporary. And these 8 gunas are also temporary. All are special properties. not available anywhere else. They are available in Atma, but that too not permanently, temporary. And Tat Samskara means all these impressions born of Sukham and Asukham experiences. So total 9 gunas we talked about, total 9 gunas of Atma we have talked about in verse 88 and verse 89. And they are all special properties. They belong to Atma only, they don't belong to Panchabhutas or any other Dravyam. Then why? Because see, that is the difference. So Atma is also Jadam. Bhutas are also Jadam. And still, so Atma is also inert. Bhutas are also inert, Panchamahabhutas, etc. But they, even though both are inert, Atma has these 9 properties. Becomes conscious now and then. Has a Raga Dvesha now and then, etc. etc. Sukham Asukham now and then. Vasanas also, Samskaras also now and then. We'll see how it is possible. Very nicely they have found out all this. But these properties don't belong, even though Panchabhutas are also inert, Jadam, but these properties don't belong to them. And therefore we say special properties for Atma, because not available to other inert things. Anyway, to tat samskarasya, and then says tasya ete chitivat iritaha. Tasya atmanaha. Well, these are the properties. These properties belong to Atma. Tasya means atmanaha, means belong to. 6 case means belong to. They are of Atma only. Chitivat means first property we have already discussed. Chiti means a consciousness. Chitivat, like consciousness. Like consciousness is a temporary property of Atma, arise now and then because of some reason. That reason we are discussing today. And same way, these other properties, 8 properties, Ichha, Dvesha, etc. also, they are also like this consciousness. They also arise temporarily. They also come and they come and go. They arrive and they say they arrive, they come and go. So this is how we say that. Chiti means here Chaitanyam, consciousness. So this is a uniqueness of this philosophy. So they look upon consciousness as a property of the inert thing. Atma is inert. So consciousness is a property of the inert thing, like matter. So so consciousness is a property of matter. We can say that way. Atma is a matter, jada. So whereas Vedanta says consciousness is not a product, property of matter. That's a big difference. And then still we and these philosophers, we come very close. Once I discuss their philosophy in detail, you will find, yeah, this is correct. This is correct. And then lastly I will tell you where they did a mistake. Let's go to verse 90. Atmano manasa yoge swadrishtavashato gunaha jayante tha praliyante sushupte drishta samkshayat. Jayante atha praliyante sushupte adrishta samkshayat. So in previous verse we said, right, that the consciousness is a temporary property. It will arise and depart and resolve. So, well, the question is, when does the consciousness arise? When does consciousness arrive in Atma and how does it arrive? That's a question. Or how does it produced? How it is produced? How consciousness is produced in Atma? Because it's a temporary, means it is produced and it goes away, etc. It arises now and then. So then our question is, when does it arise and how does it arise? Our 2 questions are there. So we say the consciousness is never produced. Birth of consciousness, Vedanti can't imagine even. Vedantis can't imagine the birth of consciousness. But these people say it is born and it goes also. So in Tarka Shastra they talk about this birth of consciousness, etc. And they explain that how consciousness arises in Atma. How? He says, look, there are many Atmas, right? That we have seen yesterday also. Atma is all pervading and Atmas are many also. So Tarka philosophers talk about many Atmas. and all are all pervading. So as many students are there right now, so many Atmas are there. So you are also basically a consciousness and distinct from the body, mind, sense complex, and that's how you are all pervading. Once you cross the boundary of the body, then your dimension is limitless. When you say I am body, means you, then consciousness is basically becomes limited. But when I say Atma is basically distinct from the body, mind, sense complex, which all they are saying, then definitely dimension is limitless. What is the dimension when you are not a body? What is your dimension when you are not a mind? What is your dimension when you are not sense organs? So that consciousness is basically all pervading, but you are consciousness, you are all pervading. I am consciousness, I am all pervading. So there are as many students are there, so many Atmas are there. Each one is all pervading. So each Atma, and then definitely since every Atma which is all pervading, therefore my Atma pervades you also, your Atma pervades me also. So each Atma pervades all of us. Everyone's Atma pervades every other one. And Atma is Jada. Then, this is one thing. Then he says, that he talks about the presence of mind also. So as many people, so many minds also. As many students, so that those many Atmas, and as many students, so many minds also. And therefore, and the mind is where? Mind is within the body. Mind is a Anuparimana. Please understand, I am not, Vedanta is sitting somewhere else. I am talking about, and now I am going totally with this philosophy. So in between, you should not create such doubt. Hey, how Atma is, how mind is Anuparimana, and how this is that. Don't say, I am going along with those philosophers in order to explain you. I am totally identifying with that philosopher. Which philosopher? Either Prabhakar Mimamsakas, or either Nayayika or Vaisheshikas, Tarkika. Anyway, so mind also is there, and mind is basically within the body, and therefore dimension of the mind is Anuparimana. And the Atma is a Vibhu Parimana. Atmas are many, minds are many, and Atma is a Vibhu Parimana, and mind is a Anuparimana. So, innumerable Atmas, innumerable minds. Atma is also inert, mind is also inert. And then one particular Atma and one particular mind combines. Right? So, one particular Atma and one particular mind combines. And then, well, definitely of this many Atmas and many minds, Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place. One particular Atma with a particular mind combines. And moment the Atma mind combines, consciousness is generated, and which is a temporary property. And so it will, so the consciousness which is generated due to Atma Mana Sanyoga, well, that's a property. And property has to reside in a substance. Property can never be independent. Like I say, you are a very good person. The goodness is a property. But then I can't talk about just goodness. I have to also mention the substance where the property resides. That's how I say you are a good person. Means the goodness as a property resides in you. So basically a property always, a guna always resides in a dravyam, substance. Property can never be independent. Please today, you try to find out one property which is independent of the dravyam. If you come across, let me know tomorrow. Okay, so guna always resides in a dravyam. Now Atma is a dravyam, one substance, mind is another dravyam. When they combine, a property, consciousness is generated. Now that property has to be in either of the substance. And therefore, well, definitely, since we are talking about the special properties of Atma, these 9 properties which we talked about, So we say the consciousness basically is a property resides in Atma. Okay, with the generated property called consciousness resides in Atma, because it is an Atma special property. Mind remains Jada. So this is how Tarkika says. So generated consciousness will rest upon Atma only, because mind will be always Jada. So Atmanaha Manasa Yogi. Vidyanya says Atmanaha Manasa Yogi, when particular all-pervading consciousness, yogi, combines with Manasa, with a particular mind, Gunaha Jayante. All gunas, starting from consciousness. Why you are starting from consciousness, you are saying? I am giving you that reason, that there is a chronological order in this properties also. I will talk about in next verse, but you accept it right now, right? Because 9 properties are there, then you any property you can start with. Why you are saying the first property is a consciousness? There is a reason. I will tell you that. So gunaha jayante. But anyway, all 9 properties are born beginning from consciousness. Anyway, then this is one thing. Then next question will be, if Atmas are all pervading and all minds are also there, now many Atmas, many minds, then well, which Atma will join with which mind? Because if one Atma joins today with one mind, and another Atma, then the same Atma joins to another mind, because minds are also many. So the same Atma joins to another mind next day, then this will be a disorder. So how this is possible? That out of innumerable Atmas and innumerable minds, particular Atma joins with a particular mind. How? Well, we say it is, we means here, please understand, we the philosophers, that Tarkika and Prabhakara. Well, we say it is not a random. There is an order there. It is based on law of karma. Based on law of karma. Slowly I am coming near to Vedanta. Please, you will slowly realize it. So every Atma, and then you find after a class, oh Swamiji, Nayayika, Vaisheshikas and we are not different. What you talk, they also talk. Then there is a great confusion. That is the greatest confusion. Many people talk like that. Anywhere they go, anywhere. They go to Rajneesh or they go to Krishnamurti, they either go to Arvinda's philosophy or anywhere they go. Or they go to a Vaishnava Acharya. Swamiji, everyone talks same thing only. That's the biggest confusion. So here, if I proceed further, you are going to tell that Swamiji, they are not different. Why they become Purvapaksha? They are like us. They are our brothers. Older brother or younger brother, but please accept them as a brother. No, sir, we can't accept. We have already discussed something by which this should be negated even without my saying to you. Okay, I will come to that. Anyway, so basically, how do you know which Atma has to combine with another mind? Well, he says it is not random. It is based on law of karma. So that is how it says, Swa adrishta vashatah gunaha. Swa adrishta. Adrishta means what? Dharma, punya papa. Adrishta vashatah gunaha. So, Swa means that particular Atma which has a adrishtam, punyamena, papam, etc. Depending upon that, gunaha jayante. So, basically, if Atma has a punyam, it will combine with that appropriate mind and to generate a sukham, etc. All 9 properties, in fact. So, type of combination depends upon the prarabdha of that Atma. So, my Atma has got a prarabdham connected only to a particular mind to generate a particular sukha dukkham. Start all gunas, not just. So, to generate a consciousness and then ragadveshas and then dharma, punya papa and then sukham, asukham and samskaras, all properties. Gunaha jayante adrishta vashataha, depending upon the adrishta, depending upon the karmas. Of whom? Of Atma. Swamiji, Prarabdha cannot be of a Jada Vastu. But we are never saying of a Jada. When we say Atma-mind combination takes place and then consciousness is generated. And if consciousness is generated, then all the other gunas should be there. Why not? Right? Ultimately, Raga Dvesha, Punya Papa, Sukham Asukham, and Vasanas all belong to Swamiji conscious being. That's what we are also saying. I am Tarkika right now. I am telling you, I am not telling you that it's of an inert thing. When a consciousness is generated, and which is residing in that Atma, then all these other gunas also will come. And basically, but why Atma joins to a particular mind to generate consciousness and other gunas? Well, depending upon the karma of that Atma. So, one particular Atma combines with one particular mind, and so no question of a confusion that even though there are innumerable Atmas and innumerable minds, then which one join with the which one, nothing to worry about. There is an order of karma. Okay. So, this is how all 9 properties are ultimately born through this kind of combination. And this combination will continue. Atma-mind combination will continue till Prarabdha is there. When Prarabdha suspends, Atma-mind, that combination will not be there. Will not be there. Atma-mana Viyoga takes place. Then Atma again becomes Jada. And then a particular state of experience is there where Atma-mind combination takes place. And then consciousness generated, and then all this Ichcha, Dvesha, and all this Sukham, Dukkham, and Adrishta all are generated, and this is how the things, And once Prarabdha is not suspended but gone, then definitely Atma-mind Viyoga takes place. They separate forever. So because of combination, all 9 properties are generated. Raga, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha, etc. And so throughout this waking state, this will go on. What? Atma-mind combination. And that's how you are a conscious being. You are a conscious being in a waking state, in a dream state. And all these gunas are also there. Consciousness itself is the first guna, and then there will be Raga, Dvesha, and Sukha, Dukkha, and the samskaras, and Adrishta, all will be there. And once, so Atma-mind combination due to that Prarabdha is there in waking state, in dream state, and once the Prarabdha is suspended, combination will be over. And then Atma becomes Jadam in deep sleep state. So Atma becomes Jadam. So that's how he says, this is your experience. So in experience of a Sushupti, where in sleep you are a Jadam, where is consciousness? So now look at the shloka. Atra sushupte means in sushupti, adrishta samkshayat, temporary suspension, due to prarabdha, etc. So praliyante, all 9 properties also have a laya. They will not be there. So prarabdha is over, then definitely, or if prarabdha is suspended because sushupti. So prarabdha is suspended, all these 9 properties also praliyante, they will go. So adrishta vashatah, again next bunch of prarabdha is generated in the morning, and prarabdha, which was suspended now again arise, and then Atma-mind combination takes place, and then again you have all this consciousness is generated, all other properties are also generated, and again the day is over. And again in Sushupti, again Prarabdha suspension takes place. Atma-mind Viyoga takes place, not Sanyoga, but Viyoga. And then consciousness will not be there, and other properties also will not be there. So, this is how daily switch on and switch off will be there. And this Atma becomes Jada. So this is a theory of Atma regarding, this Prabhakaras also have this theory, and even Tarkikas, Nayayika, Vaisheshikas also have this theory. Let's go ahead. 91. चितिमत्वा चेतनोऽयम् इच्छा द्वेष प्रयत्नवान् स्याद्धर्माधर्मयोः कर्ता भोक्ता दुःखादिमत्वतः. Now, these 9 properties which we talked about, so they progressively come in Atma. After Atma-mind Sanyoga, combination takes place, there is a progression. I mean, all these 9 properties are generated progressively in Atma. There is a chronological order in the properties, 9 properties. How? Because of Atma Mana Sanyoga, which happens due to Prarabdha, well, first property which is generated is consciousness. Jad Atma, inert Atma becomes conscious Atma. That conscious Atma is called Pramata. That's very true. The first thing, we also say, the first adhyasa is of a Pramatrutva. The I notion, and that I is automatically, Ahankara is a Pramata. Then it becomes Karta, Bhokta, etc. So that's what he also says. So he is our older brother. Okay? So Jada Atma becomes conscious Atma, Pramata. And then it becomes a sentient, capable of perceiving the environment, perceiving the world. And moment I experience the world, well, that Pramata, in that Pramata, Ragadveshas come. So, and once Ragadveshas are generated, now see the progression. Once Ragadveshas are generated, Ichcha, Dvesha, etc. are generated, then willpower becomes operational. I want to go after that object of a like, or I want to avoid that particular object of dislike. That kind of a thought occurs, which is called will, sankalpaha. And we call some sankalpaha, but anyway, let's not go into that. Anyway, so this is how a willpower takes place due to ragadveshas. Ragadveshas are born. Before that, what is born? Well, definitely a consciousness arises. So once that becomes pramata, then ragadvesha arises, and then prayatna will arises, or will arises. And then what will happen? Pravrutti nivrutti, well, definitely will takes place. And so basically this prayatna represents you can take this pravrutti nivrutti also along with the prayatna. Prayatna means an effort. Effort means pravrutti or nivrutti. Either you engage or disengage, etc. That is called prayatna. And well, that also includes, well, a sankalpa in your mind. I want to go after the object of a like, or I want to disengage myself from the object of dislike, etc. So that is called pravrutti nivrutti. So will or pravrutti nivrutti, karma also takes place. And then what? Well, then depending upon the pravrutti nivrutti, whether it is in an order, universal order, or whether it is not in keeping with the universal order, dharma adharma also will take place, and so adrishta will be born. So nivrutti also generates adharma. If you do something, well, then only dharma or adharma can happen. When you disengage, how adharma can be there? Because adharma is also it's a papa, it's a karma phala. Karma phala, by nivrutti, how a karma phala can happen? Nivrutti means a suspension of a karma. You disengage yourself. Then how papam can happen? Karma phala can happen when you do karma. When you disengage, how karma phala can happen? That is what in Mahabharata war we have seen. Right? We have not, in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. That's how Bhagavan also said in second chapter also. This, our gentleman, our person, Arjuna wants to disengage. Then Bhagavan said, well, definitely you are going to incur papam. Yeah. You disengage and still papam is generated. Because you are supposed to do something as a kshatriya, which was your it's your duty. It's a dharma actually. But if you don't do, if you go away from the dharma, you definitely generate, for you, adharma is definitely generated. And therefore, basically, don't think, how nivrutti can generate dharma or adharma, etc., whatever. Well, this is how it is. So pravritti nivritti definitely generates dharma. Anyway, and dharma adharma later fructify into sukha dukkha. Okay? And so once sukha dukkha anubhava comes, then every experience is registered in the mind. See, every experience is registered. Yesterday only I was talking to a friend. Every experience leaves an impression of a gross thing as well as subtle thing. Both are registered. Like I had an experience in your house, that I came to your house and then there was a bhiksha and I met all of you or some friends and everything. So all the people, their gross bodies are also registered, and the subtle part also is registered. What? Emotions. All emotions are registered. Suppose I got some person has asked me a very weird question. Suppose in that after satsang, after bhiksha, if somebody has asked me a weird question and I got angry, suppose. Now that also is registered. Now today, even if I remember that person, that anger comes out from my memory, from the samskara. Or somebody, was very jovial, and he, in that after satsanga, etc., well, he cracks some jokes and I laughed so much. That is also registered. So emotions are also registered. Not just gross thing, subtle things also get registered, and that also can come out. Like the gross objects come out of this vasanas as in a memory, while definitely even the emotions which are subtle thing also come out in a memory. And that is how, so sukha dukkha anubhava takes place. Every experience is registered in the mind in the form of a vasanas, and then this samskaras basically, well, next day becomes, when you become a pramata, well, from that samskara again that memory comes out. From memory what will come out? Oh, that was a very good object. Oh, that was a very, 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 that was not a good object, etc. Raga dveshas will come out, right? And then raga dvesha comes out. Then well, what will be generated? Prayatna will be there. Will be there. I want to go after that object. I want to go away from that object, etc. And pravritti nivritti also will arise. And then pravritti nivritti arise, dharma will arise. Then dharma will arise, means sukha dukkha will arise. And so from sukha dukkha again samskaras will be generated. And then from samskaras again next day. Why next day? Because in sushupti you can't do anything, right? Atma mana yoga takes place, no properties. Then again next day all consciousness generated, then pramatrutvam generated, then that from that samskaras memory comes out. Oh, that is very good object. And that is not a good object. Again, so ichha dvesha, and then prayatna means will and pravritti nivritti, and then dharma, then sukha dukkha, sukha sukham. Then he doesn't say dukkham, he says asukham. Okay, keep it asukham. Sukha arises, and then from sukha experience and pleasure pain experience. Again, well, samskaras. Ho gaya. So that is how it is. So, but where is pramata? After that, there is a kartrutvam and bhoktrutvam, etc. Yeah, I'm going to talk about. Don't worry. So all these properties, I'm giving you the picture of this Atma, who is a samsari. All these things will be there. So this cycle goes on, and so that's how, well, this is how all these 9 properties of Atma are generated once Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place. So he says here, chiti consciousness, mat, possessive affects. So means once they become conscious, or once Atma becomes conscious, chiti matvat, ayam chetana, this chetana, this conscious Atma which is pramata, ichha dvesha prayatnavan, he develops ragadvesha, and well, he has a prayatna, he has a pravritti nivritti, and then definitely and once that willpower etc. becomes operational, dharma adharmayoho karta, well, then pravritti nivritti is generated or will is generated, then he becomes a karta. So the pramata, consciousness is generated, right? A conscious Atma which is a pramata now becomes karta of dharma and adharma, punyam and papam. And once dharma and adharma gets fructified, it will generate sukha dukkham. So dukkhadi matvatah, And because of association with dukkha, etc., well, bhokta. Naturally, sukha dukkha arises, pleasure pain arises, means it becomes an experience. And so pramata, karta, bhokta. Ho gaya? Then, this is what our story is. We are also saying the same thing. Atma is a karta, bhokta and pramata. He is also saying Atma is karta, bhokta and pramata. We are saying Atma is all pervading. Here they are also saying Atma is all pervading. Everything's same, right? Anyway, the difference you have to tell. I am not going to tell. I am totally influenced by these people. I am totally. From today I am giving up Vedanta at all. So, bhokta syat, dukkha, etc. Definitely. Sukha dukkha arises, but definitely. Sukha dukkha is there, experience is not there. Come on. Bhoga is there, bhokta is not there. What kind of a thing it is? Definitely. So, when Atma-mana sanyoga takes place due to prarabdha, Atma is a pramata, karta, bhokta. Fine, that's what Vedanta says. One who has a prarabdha is basically a karta, bhokta. One who has a prarabdha, he is a pramata also. So this goes on and on and on and on and on. This is called samsara in their language also. In our language also. Our language. Kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam is a samsara. Sukha dukkha anubhava is a samsara. Prarabdha is a samsara. That's what he also says. And then why should we, throw him away? Let's make a friendship with him. Verse 92. Yathatra karma vashatah kadachittam sukhadikam tatha lokantare dehe karmanichchadi janyate. Now this continues for several years, day after day. And Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti, Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti, etc. In Sushupti, Atma becomes Jadam. In Jagrat, Sapna, it becomes a conscious. And then once it becomes a conscious Pramata, and then all other properties are generated, it becomes Karta, Bhokta, etc. And so, this is, due to the present bunch of Prarabdha, he is having this lot. When this Prarabdha is over, when this goes away, what happens? Body dies. Body dies means mind doesn't die. Mind goes out. Very nice. That's what we also say. Sukshma Sharira leaves the body. Right? And therefore, mind goes away. And Atma, because of the next set of prarabdha karma, gets association with mind in other body. So, this is okay? Right? So, subtle body goes away because it is Anuparimana. Which is Anuparimana can go. Atma cannot go. Atma is all pervading. He is telling us, Atma is all pervading. It cannot go anywhere. Only mind leaves this body once the prarabdha is over. So, mind leaves this body, and according to the next set of a prarabdha, mind enters into that body, and then again mind and Atma is all pervading, so it is there in other body also, and then again Atma, mind, then sanyoga, combination takes place. All properties are generated, pramata, karta, bhokta. And so in another body he is going to experience varieties of the things also. He is going to do lot of things also. If it is a human body, and therefore, this is a clean philosophy. Very nice. And so, karma vashatah, because of this force of karma, kadachitkam sukham atra bhavati, kadachitkam sukham. Kadachit means sometime, kadachitkam, temporary. So, because of the force of karma, there are temporary pleasures in this loka, in this body. And so, even though Atma, which is all pervading and it is there in all the lokas, it derives pleasure and pain in other loka due to karma only. When we derive, then definitely when it gets associated of the same mind in other body, because mind has left this body, it has gone to the other body, it is which is there due to the prarabdha, and then Atma is which is all pervading, it is there even in that body also. Anyway, so when set of karma changes, lokantare dehe, in another loka and a different body, in different loka, in a different body, definitely same Atma which is all pervading, which is right there, and the mind which has travelled from this body to that body, once the prarabdha is over, that mind, same mind, get associated with the Atma in that body, and again consciousness arises and all other properties also arises, Pramatrutvam, Kartrutvam, Bhotrutvam, everything. So Atma does not travel, only mind travels. And so mind is not all pervading and then it can travel. Atma is all pervading, it cannot travel. It is present in the next loka also, in the other loka also, in other bodies also. And mind, once it enters into that body and start fructifying, the prarabdha once fructify, definitely that sanyoga takes place, consciousness is generated, raga dvesha generated, then prayatna, will, pravritti nivritti takes place, dharma dharma takes place, sukha dukkha takes place, samskaras takes place, and in that body he again experiences. And in that also prarabdha suspends, then he goes to sleep, and then next day again prarabdha, next set of, prarabdha suspension is over, well, definitely again the Atma Manas Yoga takes place, and that during day or even in a dream he experiences everything. So Indra Shariram or Rambha Shariram, etc., appropriate body he gets, mind and body are there in other loka also. This all pervading Atma, which has lost contact here because the prarabdha is over, it develops a relation or contact again in another loka, in another body also. And so, and then definitely again all these properties will be born. So only tapping area is changed, right? Here here it is in one body, it is in other body. Not Bhuloka but Swargaloka, etc. So Lokantare, Vidyaranya says Lokantare, in other loka. So Swarga, etc. Other Dehe also, another body also. And what is so Ichchadi Janyate? Well, Ichchadi, all these 9 gunas are born due to that new prarabdha. But who decides that? So Karmana. So because of karma only, Atma keeps on shifting a tapping area and types of experiences. So ultimately, so we have a feeling that Atma travels from loka to loka, but actually mind travels only because it is anuparimana, and so it leaves this body and enters into another body. And then that prarabdha starts fructifying, and that is how the sanyoga takes place. All other properties also takes place. And there also prarabdha suspension, etc. will be there. So you have a feeling that Atma travels from loka to loka, but actually Atma does not travel. Atma is all pervading, only mind travels. This is what we also say, right? Okay. Verse 93. Evam cha sarvagasyapi sambhavetam gamagavau karmakandas samagrotra pramanam iti te vadan. So incidentally, I forgot to say karmana ichchadi janyate, in the previous verse. So janyate, so actually there's a root called jan, and its adesha is a ja. So jan, it's a fourth conjugation atmanipada, and so it's since adesha is ja, so you will have a verb jayate. You know that verb. Najayate mriyate va kadachit. You know, it's very popular. So is born. Janyate is born, is produced. Right? So basically, jayate, janyate looks like they are similar, but janyate is a passive usage. When you make a passive usage, you will have to use the original root. Like, so gacchati is okay. But when you make a passive, then in a passive voice, gamyate it is. It is not gacchati, it is gamyate. Gam gaccha. Gaccha is a adesha. This is for grammar student, okay? So for other people, definitely they can do like this. Other people need not hear at all. So gacchati, it's an active voice. But when you make a passive voice, you will have to use the original, not adesha. So you will have to use gam, not gaccha. And so it is gamyate. Same way here, jayate means it is born, is produced. And jayate and janyate. Janyate also means is produced. But then here janyate is produced, is a passive usage. How will you understand it is passive usage? Because karmana. There is a kartari tritiya. because of karma. It's a kartari tritiya. Tritiya has a many usages. So it is kartari tritiya. Karmana ichchadi janyate. Because of karma, all the ichchadi, all these 9 gunas, ichcha, dvesha, etc., all are generated. So anyway, this is grammar is over now. So because of this, jiva has a seeming travel, from loka to loka. Jiva means only in his case, jivatma only is there. Please understand, jivatma and paramatma are not one thing at all, and therefore that is a Vedanta. And therefore, jivatma is a paramatma, and therefore jiva is basically all pervading, that we say. He doesn't say that. He says paramatma is an entirely different entity. It has a special property, different from even this jivatma also. Atma is divided into 2, jivatma and paramatma. Paramatma has a special property, and jivatma has also special property. What the properties jiva has, paramatma does not have. What the properties paramatma has, jiva does not have. Understand that? So here it is, even though all pervading, he calls it jivatma. We have seen that also. Anyway, so jiva has that seeming travel from loka to loka. So in that mind only travels, and different dehas are there in different lokas. Mind enters into that, and then atma, which is all pervading there. Atma manas sanyoga takes place. Aprarabdha starts fructifying. Atma manas sanyoga takes place. Atma becomes conscious, pramata, and then ichcha, dvesha, etc. will be generated. Evam cha, in this verse, in this manner, gama gamau, gama agama, arrival and departure. Gamanam or gama means basically a departure. Agama, arrival. So gama gamau sambhavetam. So in this manner, arrival and departure are possible. Sarvagatyapi. So arrival and departure of Atma is possible. So sarvagatyapi, even though it is all pervading, arrival and departure is figuratively possible. We say Atma has gone from this body to that body. No. Atma is all pervading. Mind only goes there, and mind comes in contact with the Atma, which is already there due to a new prarabdha, due to that karma, and then, well, definitely it becomes conscious, and all bhoktrutvam, kartrutvam, all this will happen. But you feel Atma is as though has gone from this body to that body. That's what we are also saying, right? Jivatma is leaving this body and enters into other body. Really speaking, subtle body goes, But anyway, let's keep aside now Vedanta. We'll enter at the end. So even though it is all pervading, arrival and departure is figuratively possible. And this sambhavetam is a Vidiling. So sam plus bhudhatu is there, and it is prathama vibhakti dvivachanam. Sambhavetam means are possible. So how do you know all these things? How do you know? You as though are telling that you are authority in all these things. These all are paurusha. Who enters where and mind goes where and all these prarabdhas and these and that. How do you talk about all these things? Well, Vidyaranya says, well, Veda itself is a pramanam. Well, so it is, Veda is a pramanam because it says karma kandaha samagraha atra pramanam. So, karma kandaha atra pramanam. Atra, asmin vishay. With regard to this, what we discussed, asmin vishay, with regard to this subject matter, karma kandaha pramanam. This Veda is a pramanam. And well, Veda is a pramanam, then give one quotation. Yeah, we can tell. No problem at all. In Prashnopanishad, it has been told, Punyena punyam lokam nayati, papena papam, ubhabhyam eva manushya lokaha, punyena punya lokaha, papena papam. Depending upon this Atma's adrushta, well, a new prarabdha, well, definitely he gets a different loka, different deha, etc. And Bhagavan also said in chapter 14, Urdhvam gacchanti sattvasthaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jaganya guna vrittisthaha, adho gacchanti tamasaha. So, right? Urdhvam gacchanti sattvasthaha. So this, the mind, those jivas who have a sattvic mind, etc., goes to urdhva loka. Sattvic mind is basically due to punya, etc. They go to urdhva loka, etc. And ultimately other people also go in between, or other lokas also. So all pervading Atma figuratively travels. Figuratively. Because it is all pervading, cannot travel. But looks that it is traveling. because it experiences sukha dukkha, ichha dvesha in different bodies, becomes conscious also in different bodies. Anyway, so atra means asmin vishaye atmanah gamagama vishaye, entire karma kanda is a pramanam. Iti te avadan, that is how they say. Who say? Who said this? Iti te avadan. Avadan said. Te, they say. Who said? Prabhakaras and Tarkikas said like that. Abba. So from verse 88 to 93, he had that microphone and he kept on saying all these things. Now some other philosopher will say something different about the nature of Atma, which is again confusion. It's not Vedantin. Let's go to verse 94. Anandamaya kosho yah sushuptau parishishyate aspashtachits atmaisham purva koshosya te gunaha. 94 to 97, he will have a microphone. There's another one. 88 to 93, this Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas and Prabhakaras said something regarding the nature of Atma. Atma is Jadam only. Now verse 94 to 97, Vidyaranya talks about another philosopher which is equally confused, and they are Bhatta Mimamsaka. I have already told you. We saw two groups of Mimamsakas. One is a Mimamsakas or depending upon the philosophy of a Kumaril Bhatta. The followers of a Kumaril Bhatta philosophy are called Bhattas. Kumaril Bhatta was a Purva Mimamsaka, and he, well, of course, he was highly dependent upon, for his philosophy he was dependent upon Jaimini Maharshi's all sutras, Purva Mimamsa sutras, and he has written, he has given this philosophy. And the followers of them are called Bhattas. So, Kumaril Bhatta is a Purvamimamsaka. The name of that philosophy is called Bhattamatam. And the name of the follower of that philosophy is also called Bhattaha. Like we are called Shankaraha, because we follow Shankaracharya's philosophy. It is not Shankaracharya's philosophy, you know very well. It's a philosophy. It's not a philosophy. It's basically a vision of the Veda which he has revealed through commentary, Bhashyam. So it is not, people say it is a Shankaracharya's philosophy. It is not philosophy. It's basically, this is a vision. It's a vision of the whole, basically. Has been revealed by the Shankaracharya to us, because we are directly not able to understand what is the purport of the Shastra, etc. Well, he commented, Bhashyam, etc. And so anyway, Kumaril Bhatta also has a philosophy, and that includes even the nature of Atma also. So what Bhatta says, well, he says, this Prabhakaras and Vaisheshika Nyayas, these people are wrong. Means Atma is not Jadam. Atma is not Jadam. It is no more a Chetanam also. We are not in between, okay? He says Atma is not Jadam by nature, Atma is not Chetanam by nature. It is a mixture of both. And he will also prove. From experience. He will also prove that very nicely. And what he uses a word, see, Vidyaranya uses a word, Aspashta Chit. Aspashta Chit means it's a consciousness. Atma is a consciousness, Chetanam, but Aspashtam. It's a vague. So it is basically, vague means what? It is not a pure consciousness. Pure consciousness means the microphone will be in our hand, okay? In Vedantin's hand. They don't say that. They say Aspashtam Chit means basically it's since it is a mixture of a Chetanam and Jadam, that Chetanam we say vague consciousness. The consciousness, Atma is a mixture of basically a Jadam and Chetanam, and therefore he uses a word Aspashta Chit, vague consciousness. How do you know? Well, simple. We have to study our own Sushupti, Anubhava, and then you know that Atma is Chit and Achit, Chit plus Achit, mixture. Vidyaranya will explain that, but anyway, Let us keep aside Pancadasi right now and we discuss independently that thing. See, during sleep we are basically predominantly jadam because we are not conscious of surrounding, we are not conscious of ourselves. Like a jadavastu, which is not, how will you define a jadam? Which is not conscious of itself, which is not conscious of the surrounding. That is called jadam. Same way in sushupti, you are basically not conscious of the surrounding, you are not conscious of yourself. And therefore in sushupti you are jadam. You, the Atma, is jadam. And Atma is jadam is proved by that we are basically, that is one thing. But we are not totally inert also. How then, so it is not, it is a conscious also? Yeah, it is conscious. Because after waking up, you remember and said, I slept like a log of wood or something. So I am aware of the fact that I am not aware of surrounding, I am not aware of myself, or I was not aware of myself, and therefore I was conscious also. So Atma is basically not aware of the surrounding and not aware of itself in Sushupti, but once he wakes up he says that, well, I was not aware of anything and of the surrounding and I was not aware of myself. That consciousness was also there. That much consciousness was there. That's how you, after waking up, you can say. And therefore you are conscious also and you are inert also. So we are conscious of unconscious state, let's say that. Okay? I am not aware of myself and I was not aware of myself. I was not aware of surrounding. That kind of a consciousness must have been there. So I must have experienced that. And that's how after waking up I am able to say that. Therefore Atma is a conscious also and jadam also. Our Sushupti Anubhava proves that. So partially conscious, partially inert. So Pratyaksha Pramana reveals that Chetana Tattva means you experience that way. And Arthapatti Pramana reveals this Chetana. Arthapatti means what? Basically, if you have not experience of inertness in a deep sleep state, how will you talk after waking up? Okay? How will you talk that yes, I did not experience anything in the deep sleep state, I was not aware of myself, I was not aware of the world. How do you know that? Oh, because Atma is conscious, so it experiences that. So Atma experiences nothingness, etc. So that is a Pratyaksha. So Atma is Achetanam can be proved by Pratyaksha. And Atma is Chetanam also can be proved by Arthapatti, presumption, once you wake up. So if you are not conscious, if you were not conscious during deep sleep state, how will you talk about the inertness of Atma? Or inertness of, means not conscious of anything, how will you talk about it? And therefore, Sushupti Anubhava definitely proves you are inert and you are conscious also. Atma is both Jadam and Ajadam. How can we both think can coexist? Now we have some standard arguments. How can we both, how this Jadam and Ajadam, Chit Achit can coexist? He says, simple. It is very simple. Observe this glowworm. You have observed or not? Do you know glowworm or not? Yeah, I know. Well, in the night, one part is basically has a light, other part is dark. How light and darkness in a one thing can be there? In a glowworm, how both the things are there? So Atma, some part is conscious, some part is Jada. Atma is Jada Chetana Swarupaha. Very big thing. Your experience of deep sleep state reveals you are Chit and Achit also. Right? Pratyaksha Pramana reveals you are Achit. And Arthapatti reveals you are Chit. This is how Atma is Chit-Achit. Well, exact meaning of this verse, etc., we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.